What's up, guys? It's me, Straw Hat Nate, and I'm back this week with a new One Piece chapter video. This week we have chapter 1138 titled Harley. This chapter, like all the other Elbaf chapters have been, is focused on world building. The main world building moments in this chapter include Frankie looking at a epic mural and Robin reading the ancient Harley texts in the Owl Library. But it's not only lore that we get, since Shamrock, Shanks' twin, gets his turn torturing Loki after Gunko did her thing last chapter. Also, the Straw Hats in the castle learn something that could cause lots of confusion for Luffy and the others. I'll cover what this confusion stems from in a few minutes, but without further ado, let's get into the chapter from the beginning after you like and subscribe. First, the cover this week is another addition to the Yamato cover series. In this one, we get a full shot of Who's Who in the middle of his base that they arrived at last time, and Who's Who has been the one kidnapping people, but I have no clue why. Now, to start the actual chapter, in the underworld of Elbaf, the tied up Loki asks Shamrock if he's related to Shanks, because Loki notices that they look identical, and Loki is familiar with Shanks because Shanks was actually the one who tied him up. Shamrock reveals that he is Shanks' older brother. So we don't know for sure that they're twins, but they're definitely at least brothers. He mentions that Shanks came back to Marijois at some point, but he left back to the normal world, which pissed off Shamrock. So that could mean that the man who was visiting the Gorosei during the reverie was actually Shanks. Then Loki gets really angry at Shamrock because of how much the Holy Knights disrespected him here, and Shamrock feels threatened, so he prepares to attack him. And he doesn't actually care to attack him with his own power. He's gonna let his sword attack him. He calls on his sword to become a three-headed dog named Cerberus. It seems that Shamrock himself might not have a devil fruit, but his sword might have the Cerberus devil fruit, kind of like Funkfried back in Ennie's lobby. These four dog heads all are attached to like one sword, but they all have swords in their mouths, and they look huge, even on a giant scale. And all the Cerberus heads disattach from the handle and attack of their own accord, stabbing Loki 3 times. And meanwhile, Shamrock is getting on like a bird-looking thing made out of Gunko's arrows. When the Holy Knights fly away on the arrows, the Cerberus heads turn back into Shamrock's sword. So the Holy Knights are pretty much done torturing Loki, and Shamrock tells him to come find him if he's still alive. And their plan now, since taking Loki as a Holy Knight failed, they're gonna kidnap the children of Elbaf to convince Elbaf to surrender to the authority of the world government. This again shows how evil the world government is. And Gunko is even planning on calling another Holy Knight just as backup. And then the scene shifts to up in the Arust Castle where Luffy and the others are. And they ask the giant guards, who were just unconscious, who attacked them. And when these guards say it was Shanks, Luffy flips out because he knows that Shanks would never do such a thing. Luffy is insulted that the giants would even suggest such a thing. And Nami, who doesn't know Shanks personally like Luffy, suggests that he shouldn't be so sure that Shanks is such a good guy. And then Luffy compares how Nami sees Belmere to how he sees Shanks to compare what he's feeling right now to Nami. And then the giants intelligently suggest that maybe it was Shanks' brother or something. And they don't know that they're actually correct here, but that's a bit of dramatic irony because we know that it is Shanks' brother who attacked them. And they might actually see Shamrock soon anyway because of the Holy Knight's plan to come up to the upper world and kidnap the children. Also in this scene, the mysterious figure that we keep seeing in Elbaf wearing a kimono is walking up the castle stairs, right where Luffy mentions the Roger pirates. This coincidence makes it seem that this individual might actually be part of Roger's crew, making it most likely Scopper Gaban, the third strongest man on the crew, who we still haven't seen in present day yet. But then, the huge world-building portions of the chapter start, which includes Franky's scene and Robin's scene. So, we're going to start with Franky, and he is with the biology teacher, Ripley, and they're on the branches of the treasure tree Adam. Franky thinks about how much money all of this treasure tree Adam wood could make him, but then he remembers that Saul told him that the tree is sacred, so he probably shouldn't cut it down. And then he notices a huge mural on the side of the tree. Ripley tells Franky that this mural was drawn by Elbaf children 900 to 800 years ago, which we know to be the Void Century. And immediately as she mentions the Void Century, Franky thinks to go tell Robin, who is a historian who would love to learn about the Void Century here. And a quick look at the mural shows that there are other races depicted. So Ripley tells him that she was taught that the giants waged war against these other races, but I can already tell that the twist will be that the giants and all these other races were allies against one big threat. Then we switch over to the Owl Library, where Robin is talking with Saul. He is introducing her to the Harley text, which was mentioned at the party, and it's the ancient text written in poneglyph writings, so only a few people can read it. And it includes much of the mythology and traditions of Elbaf. It even includes information about the sun god Nika, which most of the giants believe in. And he tells Robin that the Harley texts are split into 3 chapters, and the third one is supposed to be present day. Then, in an epic final page, Robin reads the 3 worlds of the ancient Harley text, which are 3 separate poems, and meanwhile, Franky is looking at the full mural on the treasure tree Adam. Since it's a poem, it's difficult to explain, but I'll try to briefly explain each one. The first world describes the sun god being spawned from human wishes, and then the god of the earth being angry at the sun god and then covering the world in death and darkness. This could be almost like a creation story of the One Piece world from way, way long ago. And then the second world describes a war between major forces, the sun god being killed, humans ascending into divinity, and the god of the sea getting mad. So this is definitely talking about the world government killing Joy Boy in the Void Century and taking power for themselves. The third world describes a void in the darkness and the sun god dancing the world and guiding it into a new dawn. This is a reference to Luffy eventually freeing the world from suffering under the world government at the end of One Piece. And meanwhile, in the background, we see the mural. And there's so much to talk about that I won't talk about it extensively, but I'll mention a little bit of it. Some of the things that are included in the mural are a tree, a dragon, a city, a crowned figure that looks like Emu, the moon, a whale, a mermaid, a giant who looks like Loki, and the sun god Nika. And I assume this is the Void Century battle from the perspective of the children on Elbaf. And that's all for this chapter. I'm honestly amazed by the amount of theories that could spawn from the Harley text and the mural. And the lore from the ancient times of One Piece is just very crazy and fascinating. And it's crazy that we're getting just bits and pieces at a time. And all of this insanity at the end of the chapter makes me forget about the beginning of the chapter, where we got major information with Shamrock and his sword. And the Holy Knights are about to make their way up to Elbaf to get the Elbaf children, and we'll see how that goes, but a big fight might break down soon. Who knows? The good thing is, we have no break next week, so 4 whole chapters in a row now, which I haven't seen in a long time. Oda is really blessing our 2025 with One Piece. And that's the end of this video. If you made it to the end, thanks for watching. Like and subscribe to show your support, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.